This is the XGIMI Titan Noir Max, and honestly, this might be the most exciting home theater projector I've ever tested. But the journey of this review did not start when I plugged it in. It started when I was standing on my apartment balcony like a kid waiting for his Christmas present, even though it was April. Because when the DHL guy finally arrived, he could not even find my front door. So I had to run outside and pick it up myself. And the moment I saw the size of that box, I knew this thing was going to be something special. And just to be fully transparent, XGIMI sent me this projector for free to review, but they aren't paying for this video and have no say in what I'm about to tell you. For context, XGIMI is launching 3 models in the Titan Noir lineup. The Titan Noir starts at $2,499 on Kickstarter and later goes to $3,999. The Titan Noir Pro starts at $2,699 and later goes to $4,999 US. And this, the Titan Noir Max, starts at $2,999 and later goes to $5,999 US. But this is not a comparison review. This one is all about the Max. And on paper, this thing sounds ridiculous. 7000 ISO lumens, RGB triple laser, up to 10,000 to 1 native contrast, and up to 1 millisecond at 1080p 240 Hz. Those are huge claims, but specs alone don't impress me anymore. What matters is how this projector actually looks and feels once it's set up and playing real content. And then came the unboxing. Honestly, XGIMI did not just ship a projector here. They shipped an experience. The first thing you see is this huge premium leather style suitcase with metal latches and a strong handle. And right away, the whole thing feels expensive. It is big, heavy, and solid. And once I opened it, the Titan Noir Max itself looked exactly how I hoped it would look. Bold, beautiful, and serious premium. The first thing that caught my eyes was the lens. It's huge. And out of all the projectors I have tested so far, this is one of the biggest lenses I have personally seen. Then once you turn it around, you have all the ports right there on the back, which I really like. You get 3 HDMI ports, Ethernet, optical, USB, audio out, and power in. And I'm really glad Ethernet is included here, because on a projector like this, that just makes sense. Underneath you get the box with the cables and the remote. The remote feels familiar if you have used the Horizon 20 series, but now the streaming app buttons are gone and replaced with 4 customizable buttons, which I actually like. My only complaint is that I still would have preferred more buttons and full backlighting. Now this is where my own experience with XGIMI made the surprise even bigger. If you have followed me for a while, you already know that I have reviewed a ton of projectors. And even beyond the videos, I have tested even more brands behind the scenes. But XGIMI has always been the one I kept going back to for personal use. Right now, I still use the Horizon 20 Max literally every day and night for movies and gaming. And I barely even use my 85-inch Samsung Mini LED anymore. So when the Titan Noir Max arrived, the plan was clearly already in my head. Keep the 20 Max at home and keep the Noir Max here in my office. The funny part is that I did not even have a table ready for it. I was already thinking, where am I going to place this thing? What am I going to mount it on? What am I going to use? And the case it comes in ended up solving that immediately, because it basically works like a table on its own, and it looks amazing together. But then came the big personal surprise. I turned this thing on, expecting the usual XGIMI experience. I really thought I was going to see Android TV or Google TV like I'm used to from their other models. That was not the case here. The Titan Noir Max runs on XGIMI OS instead of the usual Google TV setup, and that really surprised me. Now for some people, that's going to be a real downside, and that is fair. But for me personally, it was not a deal breaker at all, because I also have the brand new R-Volution Player Pro 8K TV, and combined that with the Titan Noir Max, honestly feels like the ultimate theater setup. That review is coming soon too, but of course other people can just hook up an Apple TV, an Nvidia Shield, or something similar. But once I realized what the XGIMI was doing here, it started to make sense. This does not feel like a projector built mainly for casual streaming. It feels like a serious picture-first machine that really comes alive when you feed it a proper source. And that is exactly why I decided to review it a little differently than most other people do. Most reviewers are showing this projector on a proper projector screen. I wanted to make it harder, So I tested it on a plain white wall. And this is one of my favorite parts of the Titan Noir Max, because setting up a projector is not just about throwing a big image on a wall. It is about getting that image to fit cleanly and perfectly. This projector gives you a lot of control to do that. You have optical zoom, lens shift, digital zoom, screen alignment, keystone correction, and rotation. And one of the coolest parts is that when you adjust some of these settings, you can actually see the lens moving, which makes the whole thing feel even more premium. More importantly, these tools help you get a much cleaner fit and minimize that distracting overspill around the screen, especially in dark scenes. Another small feature I want to mention is the intelligent eye protection. This is not a brand new feature in the projector world, but normally I actually find it a bit annoying because the second you walk in front of the lens, the projector just kills the image completely. What I like here is that XGIMI also gives you a follow mode option. Instead of shutting everything off, it basically only dims the area where you are, so the rest of the image can still stay visible. In other words, it still protects your eyes, but it's a lot less annoying when you quickly pass in front of the projector. And this is one of those small quantity of life things that does not sound huge on paper, but in real use, I actually appreciate it. So, to kick things off, I connected my Revolution Player Pro 8K TV, which gives me Android TV plus R video, and I started off with something simple. A few YouTube videos, and honestly, even on a plain white wall, this thing looks amazing right away. A white wall isn't the easy test. A projector screen is the easy test. A white wall is where you start noticing weaknesses much faster. But even under those conditions, the Titan Noir Max still looked very bright, sharp, and surprisingly punchy, even a lot of contrast. Colors looked rich, the image had real depth, and it never felt like I was just looking at a compromised setup. But at the same time, this is also where I need to be honest about something. Yes, on a projector screen, you can absolutely use a setup like this for YouTube, Netflix, and all your normal streaming apps. And for a lot of people, that will already look fantastic. But that is not really how I personally judge a projector like this. Because the biggest difference, especially once you move up to a projector and a large image, it's compressing. Netflix says 4K streaming can use up to 7 gigabytes per hour, which is about 15.6 megabytes per second. Ultra HD Blu-rays, by comparison, can go up to 108 megabytes per second on a 66 gigabyte discs and 128 megabytes per second on 100 gigabyte discs. Now, that doesn't mean that every streaming movie looks bad, and it does not mean every large local file automatically looks amazing, but it does mean high bitrate local sources have far more room for fine texture, cleaner gradients, fewer compression artifacts, and more stable detail, especially once you blow the image up this big. And to my eyes, the difference between watching a Netflix stream and watching a proper movie remix file on a projector like this is personally just huge. And that is exactly where something like the Revolution setup comes in, because that is where this projector really starts to make full sense of me. So I started loading up proper high bitrate movie files. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, remix file at 73 gigabytes. Then F1 the movie at 67 gigabytes and the Avengers at 63 gigabytes. And that is where the Titan Noir Max really started showing me what it's capable of. The moment I switched from normal streaming style content to proper high bitrate movie files, the whole image just stepped up. It looked more solid, more textured, more stable, and more refined. Fine detail held together better, gradients looked cleaner, and dark scenes had more depth. And this is also where the actual picture control started making a lot more sense to me, because XGIMI is not just throwing around black level claims on a spec sheet here. You can actually go in and change how this projector behaves. You have multiple iris positions, from 2.0 all the way up to 7.0, plus a dynamic mode. And in simple terms, that lets you choose what kind of image you want. Lower settings give you more raw brightness, higher settings lean harder into contrast and black levels, and dynamic tries to balance both automatically depending on the scene. On top of that, you can still fine-tune things like contrast and brightness, so you are not locked into one single look. That is something I really liked, because it means you can tune the projector to your room, your wall, or your screen, and the type of content you are watching instead of just hoping the default settings are perfect. And that is exactly where the whole Black Level story really started to make sense for me, because XGIMI markets the Titan Noir Max around its dual intelligent iris system and up to 10,000 to 1 native contrast. And what I saw here was a projector that could keep bright parts of the image punchy while still giving dark scenes real depth and mood. That is what makes the image feel more cinematic. And what makes that even crazier is that I was still testing this on a plain white wall, not on some perfect reference screen, not in an ideal showcase setup, just on a normal white wall. So the fact that it still looked this convincing under those conditions honestly impressed me even more. This is also the moment where the Titan Noir Max really clicked for me. Because once you feed it the right source, you start understanding what kind of projector this actually is. This is not a projector that is just trying to look good in a spec sheet. This is a projector that really starts to make sense once you give it serious content. And after seeing that with movies, I obviously had to test one more thing. Now usually, I would test something like this at home with my PS5, because that is how I normally use projectors in real life. But for this review, I wanted to push it a bit harder. So this time I used my PC with the RTX 5090. Now on paper, XGIMI is making some very big gaming claims here, with up to 1 milliseconds at 1080p 240 frames per second, plus VRR and auto low latency mode support. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend the projector replaces a serious competitive gaming monitor, because that is not really the point. What matters to me is whether it actually feels responsive, smooth and fun once you are really playing on it. And honestly, gaming on the Titan Noir Max was a lot of fun. With Warzone, the first thing that stood out was just how immersive it felt on a huge image. That scale changes the whole experience. But beyond that, the controls still felt responsive enough that I never had that annoying disconnected feeling that some projectors can give you. It felt fast, direct, and much more playable than I expected. It's honestly fun to play on this projector. Then with Forza Horizon, it was just pure fun. Bright colors, speed, motion, reflections, lights flying across the screen. This is exactly the kind of game that really shows why a projector can be such a cool gaming display. Everything just feels bigger, louder, and more dramatic. And that is really the best way I can describe gaming on this thing. It's not about replacing a desk monitor for sweaty competitive sessions. It is about taking already fun games and making them feel massive. So once again, the Titan Noir Max surprised me. It's not just impressive for movies, it also proved that if you want a giant screen gaming experience with a really premium image, this projector can absolutely deliver. Now, the only thing I have not properly hooked up yet is my full surround setup, because I do have the Skywave X70 and I think that is going to be a beautiful combination with this projector. But the funny thing is, I actually chose not to do that yet. And the reason is simple. The built-in Harman Kardon sound is already absolutely amazing and even louder and better than the Horizon 20 Max. It gets seriously loud, it feels the room far better than I expected, and for built-in projector speakers, this is really impressive. The sound feels clean, full, and powerful, and it adds even more to that premium feeling this projector already gives off. All my guests that I have had here to the office right now thought, hey, is that your surround system? No, it's the projector built-in Harman Kardon speaker, and everyone was pretty surprised. Now, of course, a real surround setup is still going to be better. I'm not pretending otherwise. But the point is, the built-in audio here is so good that I never felt like I had to rush and connect my external system straight away. And honestly, that says a lot. Because with a lot of projectors, the internal sounds is just there to get you by. Here, it actually feels like something you can properly enjoy. So basically, I absolutely love this projector. If I really have to pick things I don't love, the first one is the remote. It looks premium, and I do like the 4 customizable buttons. But for a projector at this level, I still would have wanted more. I would have loved more buttons, full backlighting, and honestly, in 2026, I also would have preferred a rechargeable USB-C remote instead of batteries. Second is the software side, but even that is not a really negative for me personally. In fact, for me, it's actually better this way, because I am pairing this projector with the Revolution Player Pro 8K TV anyway. But if you are someone who wants that familiar all-in-one smart projector experience with Google TV or Android TV built right into the projector itself, then that is definitely something you need to know before buying. And honestly, that is pretty much it, because once I step back and look at the full experience, the unboxing, the design, the giant lens, the premium case, the flexible setup, the image controls, the black levels, the brightness, the gaming performance, and even the built-in sound, this projector really impressed me. The Titan Noir Max does not feel like a casual streaming projector. It feels like a serious picture-first home theater machine. And once you feed it the right source, that is when it really starts to make sense. So my verdict is simple. If you want the easiest all-in-one projector for basic streaming, this might not be the one for you. But if you want a projector that looks and feels premium, gives you real control over the image, delivers a huge cinematic picture, and really rewards high bitrate content, then the XGIMI Titan Noir Max is honestly something special. For me, this is the most exciting projector I have ever tested, and I absolutely love it. If you want to learn more, it's live on Kickstarter right now, and the best launch pricing is available through the link in the description, so make sure to check it out there. And if you want to see what the Revolution Player Pro 8K can do with this thing, make sure you are subscribed, because that review is coming up very soon too. My name is Zeno. Thanks for watching. I'm out.